Brother Jamal Milton from Long Island, New York, also known as Reni Abu Maat Keru from the Shrine of Maat based out of Harlem, New York. Peace to everybody. Love light.
All right, all right. Now I can ask you this: you got some dope music, man. I got a chance to check out the tracks online. Now I was wondering, when did you even get first exposed to hip hop? Was it something you kind of got into, from your family or your friends? Was it something that was going on in the community, or
I would say started I might at a young age. I was a teenager when I really started delving into hip hop. I got exposed to it back when Onyx and um Daz Effects and all of these guys were doing their thing. Those were my groups. I say like I started delving into the art of creation when I heard the Fugees. Um, Once I heard the Fugees, that really took me somewhere. Lauryn Hill and Praz and Wyclef. That group is what really started me to feel like I can create. You know, um, I was watching. I was in the church back then, and I was watching. Remember, Class? Was it Class Act? And that kind of exposed me to a different lane or different outlook at looking at gospel music in another way, and just being more real with it. And you know, um, that's what made me want to be that. You know what I'm saying? And to create. So I would say right around my teenage years, early teenage years, whenever that started to come. I was in high school. I remember that.
wow, that's what's up. Big shout out to the Fugees, man. It's like when they came in the game, that album, The Score, they definitely changed the way music was made. I mean, it was nice how they put it together, having Lauryn Hill and Wyclef and Pride, and even Lauryn Hill, her going on to do her solo album.
Right.
Those some definitely some impactful albums. And I could talk to you a little bit about the content of your music, because obviously, you know what I'm saying, that was an influence as well. You got a track called Black and Proud. If you could just kind of talk about that a little bit for the viewers who may not have a chance to check it out.
Man, Black and Proud actually came about by my sis, Tazara Path, was on the record, I Empress. Um, when she got incarcerated, she was singing that song in the yard, um, for a number of years. And she had the inmates singing the song too, just the hook, and then she had brought the song to me and said, hey, I just I need a beat for this. You know what I'm saying? I want you to do something to it. Um, and I just need a beat. And she was singing to me over the course of a year, you know what I'm saying? And, I didn't rush into it. I just waited to see if a beat fell on my lap that sounded like that record. And when I got the beat, finally, I heard the beat and I was like, this sounds like it might be it. So we did an event called the Wake Up Call out here in Hempstead, New York, where we had Brother Rizza Islam, Brother Ben X, Umar Johnson. We had a bunch of people from all different walks of life come together. And she was there as well, representing the Hebrew Israelites, the Zariac. And during the event in the project, she started singing it again. And I was like, yo, I got the beat. So I threw the beat on and she started singing it to the beat. And I was like, we laying this down tonight. You know what I mean? So we went straight from the wake up call, doing community work to lay that record down. And that's how it pretty much came to life. Everybody that was there that was helping out doing the community work actually went from there to the studio. It was about 20 of us in the studio when we did that song. So it was dope. It was a vibe. You know what I'm saying? Everybody that was there that traveled from far and near to do that type of work. So all the energy and all the right elements was in the room when we created that. So that's how that came to be. It came birth from a movement of real revolutionary, action work in the street.
Man, I appreciate you sharing that. Big shout out to the Queen. She did her thing on that, man. Most definitely.
Sure,
That
she
that
made.
track is powerful.
Yep.
Let me see. Man, you had a couple tracks. I want to ask you about the Shaka Zulu track. The concept for just even creating a track like that. And then I think one of the UFC fighters had walked out to your music. If you could just talk about that a little
Yes,
bit.
sir. Jared Cannonier. I didn't know Jared at the time, but the creation of Shaka Zulu, um, I was by myself, and a brother of mine had gave me a beat. His name was Q Morocco, and he also produced a beat that I did called Karma. That I just recently put out with Rick the Villain. But Q Morocco had sent me a beat that wasn't the original beat that I wrote the song to. So I wanted to create a song that was going to empower black men. You know, I was alone at the time in the room, in the studio, and I just really wanted to create something that we would be able to gravitate towards, that was clean and just empower us. You know what I'm saying? Um, as opposed to leading us the wrong direction that many records do. So when I created that one, it was on a whole nother beat. And then um, I created another whole nother record, Yamin, and some other songs too. And I was like, you know what? I need a more like African rhythm. You know what I'm saying? To really tap into who we are. You know what I'm saying? Like the beat that he gave me, it was awesome. You know what I'm saying? I still had that beat too. It was great to write to. But as far as what I was trying to do with that particular song, I was like, I need a beat that's really gonna bring that out of me. So I was like, I need some bass. You know what I'm saying? The song didn't have that much bass, and I was like, I need something that's really the majority of the beat is the bass of the song. You know what I'm saying? Like I could have different elements, but it can't overpower the low end. You know what I'm saying? That war type drum type rhythm. You know what I'm saying? Something that we could dance to, but at the same time, it feel like we we moving or we marching and we going to war. You know what I'm saying? Or something like that. You know what I mean? So I fell on that beat. I don't even remember how I found that beat, but I found it, and then I was like, let me. See. I started spitting to it. I didn't do the original. I was like, that's it. You know what I'm saying? I didn't want everything to come in right away. I wanted to be that. You know what I mean? Like build. You know what I'm saying? And that song, um, it empowered me. So I don't put records out unless I feel good about it. You know what I'm saying? Like if I don't like it, I'm not putting it out. Period. I got songs that's in the archives, and they probably gonna stay in the archives if it ain't something that that I feel is for the people that I love. You know what I'm saying? So I really love the record, and that's what made me put that out. And then when Jared heard it, I don't know how he heard it. I think he might have heard it online or something like that. I didn't know Jared at the time, and he rocked with it. You know what I'm saying? He was really feeling the record, and after a match, he just shouted me out. After he won a UFC match, and that's when I started going crazy because I'm like, who is this guy? You know what I'm saying? Like, he just found me out of the blue and thanked me for his win, me and Young Pharaoh. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, this is crazy. You know what I mean? Like I didn't realize I had that much reach. You know what I'm saying? And when he did that, we got in contact with each other afterwards. We met up. He came out to New York City. He was on standby for a fight in New York City, and he really wanted to meet me. So we met up there, and from there on, he said, "Listen," he said, "if I ever get a title fight, he said I'm coming out to your song." You know what I'm saying? And in my mind, I'm like, all right, whatever. Say like people say things all the time. You get promises, especially in the music business. People say things all the time about the music, how they love your music and they're gonna support your music and boom, boom, boom. But it never really happens. You know what I'm saying? So I literally forgot about it. So when but I still followed him. I followed everything that he was doing in his fights and everything because he was just a good brother. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't looking for nothing in return. And then when I saw the fight and he's coming out to when he was fighting Israel Adesanya, I'm like, yo, he's fighting like the best dude ever, like in history. And me and my partner La, we sitting there, we filming, we watching him come out because he started doing the Kemetic pose, right? So we was filming for that, right? I was like, if he does a Kemetic pose, I'm gonna lose it, right? And then while I'm filming it, all I hear is bloom, bloom, right? I didn't even hear it at first. My partner heard it, and he's tapping my shoulder, like, yo. And I'm like, what? And I'm hearing it, and I'm like, oh, like we started bugging, you know what I'm saying? Like we just started wilding in the room, you know what I'm saying? Because it was totally unexpected. Even though he had told us that he was going to do it, I didn't believe it, so it was not registering in my head. And when he did it, that was life changing for me. You know what I'm saying? To have your music played in a title match. I mean, what artist doesn't want that? That's what every artist. Well, there's so many signed artists that will never get that opportunity, and for me to be on that platform as an unsigned, independent artist, just doing my thing, that meant the world to me. You know what I'm saying? I owe him the world for that. It just put me on a stage, on a platform that I never thought I would be on with millions and millions of people watching live. It's just incredible. So I'm grateful, I'm thankful, and hopefully it'll empower more and more people.
Man, that's what's up. That's dope. Like you say, he fighting one of the best fighters in the world, and he coming out to your music. I mean, that gotta be a phenomenal, feeling. I appreciate you sharing that, and I want to ask you because, like you mentioned, it is the music business, and by you dropping so many gems in your music and taking time to have certain themes, is it difficult for you to still be able to make that music that people can dance to or people can come out and fight to? Or, what kind of, your thoughts on that?
No, it's not difficult because it's what I've been doing my whole life. It's in me. It's really just like the way I talk is the way I make music. I can actually probably make a record better than I can talk to somebody. I can make a record or make art out of it better than holding a conversation about a subject matter. That's where I pretty much evolved to. So I can pretty much make any song that there is, any type of song, whether it be hip hop, R&B, soul, or even just instrumentation. You know what I'm saying? Being born and raised up in churches and stuff like that, you learn a lot of things. And then in school, I took nothing but music classes. Like my whole senior year was nothing but music classes. I was pretty smart in school, so my senior year I was able to choose nothing but electives. So I was in concert band, jazz band, mixed choir, select chorale, marching band. I was in all of it. So I know how to read music, sight read, all that kind of stuff. So music is something that creating music is something that'll never go away. It's a language for me, just like anybody who's bilingual. You know what I'm saying? It's something that you always have.
Yeah, that's definitely dope, man. Because like you say, you took all those classes, you learning how to read and write music, man. It's like studies that show, like once your children, if they get exposed to that, they almost just got almost a significant chance of just doing better in life. And then, like you say, you can be yourself because you see with a lot of artists, they not themselves when they do an interview or when they at home or when they on the record and they out in the public. They may be two totally different people. It's more like an act. It's like a costume,
Yeah,
like wrestling. It's a
yeah,
character, but to be able to make music and be yourself and just, not have to get into a character every time you perform, that's amazing.
yeah. That's important to me. You know what I'm saying? Maintaining my integrity, my authenticity, and being able to infuse my lifestyle and things that I learned and lessons and things of that nature into my music uh, is something that I really, really gravitate towards and that I hold dearly. You know, um, to each his own. I still respect artists who are a gimmick or or use a gimmick, whatever they do. To each his own. But for me, in order for me to be able to sleep at night and feel like a real artist, and feel my music, it's got to be coming from my soul. It's got to be coming from my heart. Otherwise, it's not going to resonate with me. I'm not going to play it.
Yeah, yeah, no doubt. Now, you had I had chopped it up with you a little bit earlier. You said you just got back from Africa. I'm in Africa now. I'm in Ghana. I'm on the west side. So I want to
Oh, see
ask
what's
you.
up.
Yeah, yeah. So we got to talk about that for sure. What made you go to Africa? Was this your first trip? And
This was my second trip to Africa. My first trip, I brought about 50 to 100 people with me. And that was on my journey of trying to find self and realizing that I have some sort of connection with these people, and I wanted to be able to share that love with other people and have them come and share that experience with me. So I brought a whole lot of people with me the first time, um, but it was more of a touristy experience, more so. You know what I'm saying? I always go into the back blocks and try to tap in with the natives, but I didn't have as much access as I do now as a Kemetic priest. Now that I've gone through those ranks, so I was able to go with Happy Film and Emphadishi and the high priest there. And it was a very, very different experience because we went to a lot of the sacred temples that I didn't get to see the first time around. I went to Giza, all the typical touristy spots the last time, but this time we were able to delve and go further down in southern Egypt, hit up Luxor, Saqqara, and all of these different areas, these different temples, Temple of Philae, Valley of the Kings, and things of that nature. Hatshepsut, which is where I really wanted to go, the mortuary temple of Hatshepsut, which is my favorite king slash queen. So I got to see that. But yeah, this was my second visit. And I also got to tap in with my actual tribe. That according to my ancestry DNA is attached to me, which is the people of Aswan, the pyramid builders. So when I was able to tap in with them, um, that was just amazing. Seeing my face on somebody else. A tribe experience is different from somebody that's just the same nationality or ethnicity. When you're dealing with a tribe, it's like literally the same bloodline. Like everybody looks like you. You know what I'm saying? It's like that blueprint signature face. You know, And so seeing that, was very, very emotional for me. You know what I mean? Like I said, I haven't cried so much in those last 10 as I did in those last 10 days. Just tears of joy. Seeing that, and being welcomed the way that I was welcomed back home. Up north, it's more Arabish. You know what I'm saying? And they more speak to you on a level of, you're a brother from another mother, right? They know who you are, but they know there isn't that direct link. But then the further south you go, the conversation is different. They like welcome home, welcome home. It's like you family. You know what I'm saying? Come on in. So it's a whole different warmth to it. You know what I'm saying? And it's a confirmation for anybody. Find your tribe. They always say find your tribe. That's a whole different experience when you find your tribe, your true tribe.
Man, that's what's up. That's dope. Now, man, yeah, I've been to Egypt a few times. I love going to Egypt. It's a great experience. Big shout out to Infodeezy, master teacher.
That's
You know what I'm saying? Big shout out to
absolutely
Taki Grant. He was on the show. A couple of the
yes,
guys from the crew. Big shout out to them. I love what they doing. Man, you
absolutely.
made some important points. Like you said, if you go like to Cairo or Dahab or Alexandria is more Arabic, but a lot of people sometimes they don't get to stay long enough to go to even Luxor or Aswan because the further you go down south, they start getting darker and darker. It's really dark skinned black people still in Egypt, but on TV
Right.
they
That's
don't
right.
show none of that. So if y'all watching this, you got a brother that's on here that take trips to Egypt, so it's good to go with a team like that. That would be probably the best group of people that you could take a trip with in terms of going to Egypt for sure. It's well
Absolutely.
documented. They putting out documentaries and everything. You spoke about being a Kemetic priest. What exactly is that, and why is it important? And how can brothers from the states and the diaspora apply that into our life? Because we kind of go back and forth about where we come from. Are we really are people in Egypt at one point, or just kind of break that down a little bit, how we can utilize that.
A Kemetic priest is simply a teacher. It's a scholar. It's the keepers of the Ankh, right? So the mystery systems of ancient Egypt, of the Kemetic people. That's what a Kemetic priest is. It's not like the traditional, like you see, like if you go to church, it's not religious at all. Um, like when you go to, you deal with pastors or ministers or anything like that. It's very, very different. It's more about educating you on your divine self, the ancient ways, the way that we used to see things. All religions came from out of spirituality, right? So spirituality is the mothership, right? And the spirit and African spirituality is ran by African priests. So like when you look at the ancient temples of Egypt, those weren't just places of worship; those were schools. So understanding that puts you in a different perspective, puts you in a different light when you see a Kemetic priest. We're not looked at the same as a pastor that's at a Baptist church. And we spend a lot of time often helping people to understand that perspective, right, and removing that from there, that religious residue, right, so that we can learn. So as a Kemetic priest, we stand on the principles of Maat. Our lifestyle is based upon the ancient principles of the Kemetic people, but also we stand to push things forward. And I think that that's where I come into play. As the epoch that I came in, I'm more of the one of the youngest priests that are out here. So um, my entire energy and aura is about making it look like it's supposed to look like today. I could wear, all the different things that the Kemetic priests wear of old, but at the same time, I like to have it look like something that if a Kemite was in modern day America today, what would he be doing? What would he sound like? And how would he be moving today? How would he look today? How would um, how would he incorporate that lifestyle into today's time? Because a lot of people say, okay, yeah, the history is all great, but what does it do for us right now, right? So that's where I think I come into play. So one of my main concerns of becoming a Kemetic priest was to provide funerary services for our dead, because that's one of the things that we don't have. What a shame it would be to, serve the Kemetic community all your life, but you still end up having to use a Christian church to be buried, or get buried with a cross on your tombstone because there's no available services for Kemites. So I wanted to be able to create rituals and things of that nature for today's time, so that the modern man could adopt the lifestyle and know where to go with it moving forward.
Wow, okay, man. I definitely appreciate you sharing that. And for the viewers, like I said before, I'm in the motherland, so I appreciate your patience with me, brother. In case we get disconnected, I edit it up.
I will be
But
there soon.
oh, okay, yeah. Well, we can keep in contact, man.
I bought
You
land in
know,
Ghana, so yeah.
oh, right, right. That's what I'm trying to do now. I'm looking at different plots. I was looking in the Shy Hills area. I don't know if you're familiar with that area.
Okay.
So maybe like an
Yeah,
hour outside of
Accra.
Accra.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I wanted to ask you this now, if you didn't already cover it. Now, how did you connect with Infodici, and what was it like connecting with him? Because he got so many videos. He know the slang and everything. You know, he been doing it. I think he's been to Egypt probably 50 times, 100 times. You
Yeah,
know, what
these
is it
30
like
years
working
he's
with
been there.
somebody
He
like
told me,
that?
he said he did about 30 something trips to Egypt. I've known Mfadishi for um almost a decade now, I would say. Um Somewhere around there. I knew Mfadishi prior to connecting with Happy Film and going on tour with him and stuff like that. Um from being in the shrine of Maat in Harlem. Um uh, he was one stationed there at the Shrine of Ma'at in Harlem, and he's a part of our sister community. And Fedishi is family. He's always been there. He's always been like an uncle, to me. Um, so I've always been connected to him for as long as I can remember being in the Walkers. Ever since I probably met Jabari, and Fadishi's always been adjacent. Jabari and Anika, he's always been standing adjacent. So he's been very very familiar with the community. So when you're doing work in the community, it's only a handful of people that's Kemetic priests and that are highly ranked in the Kemetic communities. Baba Heyruz, you got the Infadishis, things of that nature. So um, I've known Infadishi for quite some time.
Oh, okay, okay. Big shout out to that king. And then, like you say, if you from that area or that era, you probably been familiar with him. But like I guess the rest of the world, we kind of got hit to him through YouTube and watching his videos and
Yeah,
interviews, him breaking down so many things. Because a lot of people don't know, like when you visit Egypt, like you say, you went on the second trip. Then when you go back, it's so much stuff to see there. Like a person could go to Egypt for a month and go somewhere every day and still not see everything.
that's a
Every
fact.
temple, every tomb, every pyramid, and they
That's a
still
fact.
finding stuff. So he's very knowledgeable, probably one of the most knowledgeable people in our community to
Yes,
be able to even, let alone meet him, but to be able to
yes,
work with him and learn from him hands on. That's definitely an honor.
absolutely.
Let me see. Okay, I wanted to ask you about this. If I know you had kind of touched on it a little bit. The funerary services. I checked out brother Lord Jamar page. His pops had recently passed away, and you
Yeah.
was a part of the funerary service. By you being a Kemetic priest. If you could talk about that, is it any similarities or differences from how we usually, have those services performed from our family? And somebody may be inquiring, like, well, I'm thinking about doing that for my family. How could it
Yeah.
help or benefit them?
So the obvious part is we're not sending our loved ones off to white Jesus or anything like that, or expecting God to come and do something. The way that we move with Kemetic spirituality is we do believe in resurrecting uh, one's loved one, or and dealing with your ancestors in the afterlife. In Christianity or the Abrahamic faith, um, speaking to your loved ones in the afterlife is considered witchcraft. Evil witchcraft. We don't even shun witchcraft in Kemetic spirituality. We understand what a Wiccan does, and they can do positive rituals or negative rituals depending upon what they're trying to orchestrate. So we embrace all of that, and in our rituals, you know, uh, me in particular, I like to do what I did for Lord Jamar, which was spread the ashes or bring ashes back home. When you die, you go into multiple places of existence once again, and that's actually the joy of death, is that you get to experience being in multiple places at one time, as you were before you were conceived. Before you were conceived, you were living a life with your mother and you were living a life with your father before they came together. And when those things came together, that's what makes you you, right? So when you pass, and you ascend, you go right back to that more powerful space where you can be in multiple places at the same time. So at the same time, I was doing this funerary service for Lord Jamar. There's still ashes for Lord Jamar's father. However, there are still ashes here in America, right? That he has, right? And family members and friends, right? So now he's more powerful in death than he was in life. You see, so we embrace that, and that's the difference with Kemetic spirituality is that we don't teach you that your loved ones simply because they died, talking to them is now evil. These people raised you, these people loved you, um, because they ascended to a different dimension. It doesn't make it evil to communicate with them. In fact, you should communicate with them more. They are more powerful for you in on the other side than they are here in the land of the living. They're limited here in the land of the living. Inside of a living body, you can only be in one place at one time. You can only think one thought at one time. So it's just a higher level of consciousness when we're dealing with our rituals versus religion.
Okay, okay, cool. Yeah, man, you definitely right about that. And even while we still living, we still carrying them. We got the DNA, we got, it run deep, man.
Come
So
on.
that's what's up. Now I can ask you for the viewers if they want to tap in with you. Maybe they want to learn more about going to Kemet or the funerary services or even checking out some of your music. What's the best way for them to do that and follow what you got going on?
Best way is to hit me on Instagram at Jamar Jamaar on YouTube. Jamar Milton, and also on Facebook, Jamar Milton, Jamaar. Lord Jamar spells his with one A. I spell mine with two. Um, that's probably the best way to reach me. Or you can email me, jamarmilton at gmail.com. Pretty much if you Google me, you're gonna find me in some way, shape, form, or fashion. I've done a lot of work, so it shouldn't be hard to find me at all. Um, and the music is on all streaming platforms. Tidal, YouTube, Apple Music, whatever you stream music on, you can find it there. Or you can see me live if you want hard copies. I got all of that stuff too, and the merch and all that good stuff. Yep.
Oh, okay, cool, cool. So yeah, we're gonna wrap the show up. I want to thank you again for coming on the platform. It's definitely been an honor, and I'm definitely still processing some of the information that you shared with us. I'm gonna definitely be looking forward to the work that you got coming up. I want to thank the viewers for tuning in. It's been another phenomenal episode of Taye Speak. So until next time, family, peace.
So